is 8 p.m. Eastern. Do you know where your kids are at? You should. They should be watching the Astavatinipa, the American Scouser TV Thursday night podcast with the lads, Trevor and Brian. Trevor, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome stuff. Brian, how are you?
Fantastic as well. Great win yesterday.
It was indeed.
Double fantastic.
Double fantastic. And City out as well. So it was a nice evening altogether. And like a clear run for any team that wants to win that wants to take it seriously. And let's hope we're one of those teams. But we have a few things to talk about tonight. Apart from the Leicester game, we'll talk about the Spurs game as well. We have a nice, exciting giveaway for all the people out there in social media land from the American Scouser TV crew. But the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the news that the Dynasty Group, some investment group, is going to buy in a minority stake in Liverpool and FSG. We discussed this before we went on air, Trevor. The sum seems to be anything between 84 million and 164 million English pounds. That's a big window of how much are we going to be demanding from them for their stake. But the money is apparently going to be used almost exclusively for paying off the bank debt, which means we can free money up for players maybe in January. What do you think about this particular piece of news?
I think it's something, I don't want to say innocuous, because there's people that come into, hello, Alan. There's people that come into the clubs all the time that they try to like buy off debts, and that's kind of their business model. And they go around the world across all sports, and their goal is to kind of make money on the back end from those types of investments. I don't think this is anything that's going to spur FSG to go and be just frivolous in January, but I think it is something that is going to pay positive dividends going forward, because it's going to take some of that off their plate. All right, we've talked about this. There's going to be a picture up there. I can show it to you. It's framed. I just don't have the hook for it yet. Forget about the plant. The plant is gone. It's dead. The bugs got it. You can take it up with the bugs lawyers if you want. I have nothing else to give you on that front. But as to this investment, yeah, it's going to be something that takes a lot of that debt off the books that they're going to try to recoup on the back end. I'm hoping that it will allow us to at least get one big money signing in January if it's needed. I don't think that right now, as the roster stands, more than center back depth, that we need to go out and splurge in January. But other than that, I think we'll see the fruits of this investment probably next summer rather than January.
Brian, it's on face value, it seems like a good move for Liverpool, but as Trevor hints at, there's always a worry that they're not here with good intentions, these kind of investment firms, and that at some point they may become parasitic to the club and look after their own ends. Can we take this in good faith, or should we be suspicious, especially when we see what happens with other clubs and their investment problems, Manchester United and such like?
I don't really think it's a kind of a wait and see thing to see where they go with this. I mean, Redbird already has been a pretty good partner. I mean, for what they've been, the value they've added. So I mean, it's a wait and see thing. I mean, it could be a possibility that if it frees up this bank debt right there for the Andy Road stand, and also the new our new stuff that we have as far as like the retail redevelopment of outside the stadium, that type of stuff, and we could fund that, which will actually spur more money coming into the club. I'm all for it. I think that will definitely help us out. On top of that, right there was also I did read that the club is also looking to up the Nike deal too, which will be even more money into our pockets. But like I agree with Trevor, I don't really think that we're going to see a big like automatic. Okay, we're going to go out and buy a superstar in January. I mean, I can see us maybe go through filling something in, but I don't think we're going to see the fruits of this until probably another season. Probably not, maybe this summer, but probably not until maybe the following summer until it all comes out in the mesh, especially with the input on the new 80 road redevelopment and stuff like that.
Trevor, in terms of let's call them the sports washed clubs with their state-backed money and their billions and billions of dollars. As a club, we have a philosophy, a certain socio-political philosophy, and economic philosophy, at least among the fan base, among the supporters. There's a specific culture about Liverpool that's incredibly left-wing, if we want to be real about it. So that kind of investment from the Saudis or from China or from any state government, especially when we human rights issues, is not something that is popular among the Liverpool fan base. So do we have to be a little bit more clever about where we get our money from in order to maintain our competition with clubs like City and maybe Newcastle in the near future? But not Chelsea, because they spend all of their money on crap anyway. So we're okay there.
Yeah. If you want to learn how to flush $500 million down the toilet, just go comb through Chelsea's books and not City. I don't want to besmirch them in the way that they've gone about their business, but it is. I don't think it's sinister. I think it's more of just business tactics. It's something where they need to put that shit in black and white, where like this is taking care of this. We're not coming in to kind of be like, hey, we're just going to throw a bunch of money and they go get a midfielder. A lot of these people that are coming into this are looking at it as a strategy. They're not looking at it as, oh man, I get to go to Anfield and put on a kit. That they don't, like Dynasty. If you look into anything that Dynasty Equity does, they don't give a shit about the Liverpool Football Club. They don't give anything about this. They're viewing it as they are taking high-profile debt that they feel that they are going to be repaid back in kind from just revenues and general just business dealings with FSG. That is their involvement. We're seeing this as freeing up FSG's money to go do something on their front because they are the figurehead of this club ownership wise. I don't think it's going to be something that is, like I just said, it's going to be right away. It's going to be just a windfall of money. I don't want it to be something where they're like, well, we had these people pay for it, so I guess we're good. And then they just stop. I hope that this allows them to kind of just go, okay, all of these things that we're using as a crutch for so long is now taken care of, and they'll get theirs in their own time. But now everything that we're saying, like, well, we couldn't go buy player A, B, and C because we didn't have that. We had this debt from this stadium renovation or whatever. Now that's taken care of. Now you can focus your funds on that, and then we can move forward. I just hope that is the path that they're going with this, and not just, oh, we got a sucker to give us a couple shekels, and then we're just gonna take that and run. I hope it's not that.
Brian, do you think that in terms of like a bigger picture view from dynasty, if you're European, or dynasty equity, that maybe, as Trevor kind of suggested, that they're kind of using the whole thing to cozy up to FSG and then maybe get more involved in FSG's other ventures, maybe particularly in the American sports as well. And instead, and using almost Liverpool as a loss leader, as we used to say in business classes, to get them into that position where they're, John Henry's best mates. So he'll show them where the investments are, because Henry's he's an incredibly smart financial guy. So he must be able to see this thing 5 moves ahead.
I mean, it's kind of what Redbird's already been doing. I mean, it's no different from them. I mean, with the way that they're put their investment in. But again, this adds to Dynasty portfolio. I mean, it all goes back down to, I mean, what is actually really legitimate cash. I mean, as far as clubs or media or anything like that, when they're all this like little pieces to a portfolio to say that I have investment in this. It's not. There's no hard equity involved with this right here. So I mean, if we're going to take the hard equity and move and basically have Dynasty transfer that debt onto their backs, but paying them back through dividends, I mean, why not? I mean, it's common business practice now.
For in terms of Klopp's sake, Trevor, he's said all the right things in the past few weeks. That his heart is with Liverpool. We know this is Liverpool 2.0 as far as he's concerned, and it looks fantastic so far. And you would want to see how much further he could take it. Do you think, from his point of view, he's looking at this, looking at the financial implications, and saying, you know what, I can actually make this even better than my best team here at Liverpool?
Yeah, he has to be looking at it with rose-colored glasses, because it's a step from ownership going, all right, we've told you that we've been cash strapped in certain instances and haven't been able to give you every single weapon that you've chosen to wield. And now we have these people that are going to come in and kind of take a little bit of that burden away. And it won't necessarily be something that Jurgen is going to sit there and kind of like look at shareholders meetings and be like, well, no, did Dynasty, and we're going to stick to Dynasty. You went with the Joan Collins reference. We're going with Dynasty, not Dynasty. We're going straight Dynasty. And they are going to, they're coming at this very just clinical. We are getting this amount back in these stages, and that's fine. But now I think Jurgen can go to ownership now. It's like, well, you've had the leash taken off a bit. If I need this guy in these inflated market times, a guy that probably would have been 65 million, say, a year and a half ago, and now he's 85, and this is what is going to push us to bigger and better things. I don't think FSG has much of a leg to stand on now, saying, well, they can't cry poor anymore. Of, well, oh God, oh no, gee golly willikers, we don't have the funds to go that extra mile to get you that one guy that you really, really, really want. And well, and like I said before, January, that's just going to be the Wild West with however those things, especially if they cluster between 3 and 7, because I think it's going to be Austin City 1-2, but the cluster between 3 and 7, if that is like 2 or 3 points come January, that is going to be an absolute mess and is going to ruin the market for everybody else. I just hope we don't get sucked into that and then move the money that we were going to get from this investment to the summer, where we can actually be calculated and have targets and just attain those targets, rather than just be like, oh shit, oh God, oh no, wait, oh, Spurs signed this guy, oh fuck, Arsenal got this guy, oh no, calm, get the money, get the player, move forward.
Brian, if Trevor's right that the FSG now don't have the means to say, you know, we're short of money there, Jurgen. You want to damp down your targets a little bit. We failed spectacularly to achieve our goals in the last few seasons, essentially, like the last 2 seasons, because we haven't refreshed the squad the way we needed to refresh it. We've done a good job at the midfield. Well, we've probably done, I'd say, an exceptional job for the midfield this year. Our attack is exceptional. And we know there's areas at the back we need to start looking after. Do you think if Jurgen starts asking for the players that are asking for them at the price that is their market value, that John Henry's going to start driving into Anfield in a Toyota Camry to try and pretend that the money isn't actually there?
I figured it'd be a Toyota Corolla. What are you talking about?
I meant the 2010 Camry.
But, you know, I really think that, I mean, if you were to look at that over the past couple of years, yeah, we missed some targets right there, but some of these targets that we missed right there are probably good things to miss. I mean, honestly, I mean, I think that the 2 targets that we missed this summer right there are both having issues at Chelsea. Actually, the 3 ones that we missed over the past 2 seasons are all having issues at Chelsea. So, I mean, maybe that was a good thing. I mean, honestly, right there, like you were saying, the only things that really need to be refreshed right now, in my opinion, in this squad right now, is in the back. I mean, I still think that that left back needs to get sorted out, a left-sided defender, and then whatever's going to happen with Mo this summer. Well, I guess we'll go cross that bridge when we cross that bridge.
This is for both of you. We'll start with Trevor and then we'll go to Brian. It's nice to laugh at the ownership dramas of Manchester United and Everton as Liverpool fans, but do you think any of those sets of fans are looking at us tonight enviously and saying, how do they have their stuff together so easily and so effortlessly, and we're struggling week after week to get out of the front page of the newspapers and back into the back pages for the soccer, because this literally was out of nowhere and it looks like a great deal for Liverpool. And you just look at, from our perspective, I just look at Everton, Man United, and I just can't help but cry with laughter at how badly they're doing things. Are we now the envy more so than ever of those 2 clubs? Trevor?
Yeah, and United is one where at least Everton has come from the ownership group just kind of taking their ball and going home. That one kind of, you feel for them a bit, because it's as much as we don't want to give Everton any pity.
You never feel for Everton.
Yeah, you don't want to scoop the unflushable turd out of the toilet, but there's something where they're a bit hard done by, those fans. Whereas Man United, everything that's gone on in that shit is self-inflicted. From the Glazers' way they've gone about it, to all of these people have come in with bids and any type of investment that Man United has tried to court, has all been just 77 kinds of fucked up. All in all, Everton, yes, you are in bad shape, lol, but it's kind of something where it's out of your hands a bit. Whereas United, it's something where they have a manager who is going after his players. They have an ownership that is going after their investors. They have players who are going after the public. They don't. There's just so much chaos there, in the worst definition of the word, where they look to any model. They probably look at Aston Villa and go, wow, that's great. And then they look at us and like, wow, that's greater. They just don't want to be financial derelicts at this point. Whereas Everton is just going, man, we just wish our owner didn't suck. That's their baseline right there. Just we wish our owner liked us. They're asking for like their stepdad to come watch their games, pretty much.
Brian, what do you think? Is it nice to be on the perch looking down at these two sets of fans, or should we be as weak-willed as Trevor and feel some sort of pity and sorry for them?
I don't feel sorry for either one of them. Not a single bit right there. First of all, with Everton, okay, so you have to go with them is that Bill Kenwright came there and sold their club off to investors that were not worthy to invest in the club. How can you actually have the record that you have, but you're still in violation of financial fair play in Europe? You haven't even seen Europe. So how are you in violation? So okay. So what you bought to a Russian first who had it there? Okay, so that got stripped away from you from the political reasons and all that. Then you have Mansour in the middle of it right there causing problems. Now you have like some 777. You got me like some lucky strike they think they're going to get right there to get themselves out of debt. I mean, they're just the permanent 17th place in the Premier League, in my opinion. As for United, the Glaciers straddled their entire debt of that club against them. So I mean, eventually people are going to come out and get you. You're a publicly traded company, and so in a volatile stock market situation, the value of your club is fluctuating every day with being on the markets. So I have no mercy for them right there. I hope their cracked ground falls down inside of them. Because I already heard from people who've gone to Old Trafford with bits of concrete going there and falling apart and stuff like that. And their owners have promised them for a new stadium, promised them for new infrastructure, but the shit's still falling down on them right there. So you know what? Both of them can rot in a double E hockey stick, to my opinion.
Let's leave the misery of our two rivals and the joy that we feel there for now, and so we can continue experiencing the joy of the game last night in the League Cup. At one point, it looked like it was going to be one of those, sure, let's just not be in it and focus our efforts on the other competitions. But then we had like three really nice goals, but one particularly which we talked about before we went on there. Myself and Brian from Jabo, for that is his name. A rocket into the top corner, and we'll go to you, Trevor, first because I discussed this with Brian. That was number one, a fantastic goal. Number two, it wasn't a terrible Leicester team. They are fighting to get out the championship and doing fairly well at it right now. But I can't remember a time when we had a midfielder since Gerrard who could put a shot like that on frame and something that you could look forward to being a consistent thing. What did you think of the game, Trevor, and what did you think of that particular goal?
Yeah, it was a game where we did our usual thing of giving up the first goal, and everybody's kind of just going, well, maybe this is just not the competition for us. And then once the second half happened, the switch flipped, and the old the Dutch connection, not the French connection, the Dutch connection got us back into it. And then it's one of those goals that if that happened in the Champions League or in like an FA Cup semifinal, that would be an iconic goal. The fact that it happened in this stage of the Moose Cup is going to really diminish something that is just absolutely beautiful. So it was like hitting it into that quadrant of the goal from that angle with that many people in front of him was just fucking remarkable. And I don't want to discount the final goal either, where Kwanzaa did a better Joel Matip cosplay than Joel Matip got in there, and Jota just went the little foomp like that, because that was just as fun of a goal to me. Szoboszlai's was just pure technique and strike and just chef's kiss beauty. But the last one was just, yeah, we need to put this shit to bed, and we're gonna have our new young boy come on and just burn through all of y'all and get it to the poacher supreme for a little cheeky little just Joga Benito, boom, Jota Benito. It was right there and I missed it.
Come on.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's what I get. That's why I get when I'm on tape delay. I get the joke 3 seconds after I said it, and it stinks. But either way, the first half was something that was a learning experience, and the second half is what we're going to do to so many teams this year, where we just go, okay, we addressed where we're deficient with however we're playing. These are the guys that need to go on, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to kill people. That's the long and short of it.
Brian, in terms of the game, obviously, what you thought about is what I was going to ask you, but also, if you look at like the comments on like the BBC website after the game and on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Facebook, and that from the Leicester fans, they thought 3-1 was a respectable score. But essentially, when you look at the second half, they were goalkeeper saves, crossbars, and maybe a couple of inches away from that being easily an 8-0 game against them. We were on fire, and that wasn't even our best team. Is Trevor correct that some team is just going to get an absolute pummeling at some point late in the future? And you can just see it all coming together right now.
I totally agree. I think that, it seems like we have like these like cogs that we can put into places now right there where, with Graven Birch coming in, or Graven Burke, however you want to pronounce his name, it seems like it's a different way every time I hear it. If you have him being interchangeable with a McAllister, a Szoboszlai, I mean, you have Endo. I mean, you have multiple pieces that you can put in. Curtis Jones. I mean, I think that, but they're all playing the same exact method, and I think that's going to be something that a lot of teams are going to have a lot of trouble to deal with. And the same thing goes with the front three. I mean, we didn't even have Mo in that match right there, and we still came through and had a very solid match. I mean, with that, I think the Gapco right there, being on that left-hand side right there, really, really go through and show that we can actually we can reserve Diaz for and him in times and actually do some more management with them. I think that we have I mean, even the same thing goes up front right there between Jota and having Nunez. I mean, we have a lot of depth now in that attack. Unfortunately, the problem right there still goes back down to the back right there. But seeing Besiktas go there, Bashington go there playing in the right back as a right back. I mean, he actually had a pretty decent match there. And then you with Luke Chambers getting that last little bit coming in for Simicast. I mean, it was good seeing the kids go there and get that time right there, when we actually had the matchup. But I think that we've got a pretty bright squad. I mean, I think that we're going to give a lot of teams trouble. I mean, in all competitions.
Newcastle beat Manchester City, and Chelsea barely got through, I think. Yeah, 1-0 against Brighton. West Ham barely got through. Everton through, remarkably enough. But I think Villa probably don't care about it all at this point. Trevor, it seems like a competition that we should probably keep one eye on possibly winning, especially for the new players, because it's always great to win a trophy for the first time. It's, as the cliche goes, it's the hardest one to win. But the fact that it's in February, March, the final, like, it'd be a nice thing to get under the belt for all of the new players, because it will show them that the methods work. Would you continue, however, if you were Klopp, playing the second string mixed bag teams up until the semi-final maybe, or the final, or at all, keeping those players in that place? Or would you start taking it seriously and then start playing Salah and Nunez, etc., from the start?
I think at least in the next round against Bournemouth, who isn't necessarily a bogey team, but in this competition is a team that usually puts out a pretty strong lineup. That is something where we may need to go like half and half. We don't need to go all second string, but we don't need to throw like we can play Kelleher. We can play probably Ben Doak. But we maybe want to go strong on the back line, maybe give Nunez a start, give a good mix of the first and the second strings to just kind of assure that we can get through. Because it is a trophy worth winning, and if we're going to kind of just like build ourselves back up after the mess that last season was, getting any trophies on the books, I think, is important. And a lot of people pointed to like the Europa League, like, oh, you're better than every team in that. You got to just go win that. There's a lot of pitfalls in the Europa League, and there's a lot of really rugged trips on Thursday nights in that competition. Whereas here, you're in a bit of a safe space in the Carabao Cup where you can kind of get games against teams that you're either familiar with or it's lesser competition. Hopefully in the next round we get a better draw than Bournemouth, but I think this is a competition where we can strike that happy medium of getting people minutes and also making an earnest effort to win.
Brian, my thinking is this, and let me see if you agree, that we had the possibility of losing Queevy and Kelleher during the summer, and we've got to stay, and quite right, because I think he's a ready-made replacement for Alisson, and Alisson goes in the next 2 years, probably, let's say, just for argument's sake. Do you think we should use this competition as Kelleher's competition alone for as long as we're in it, and even up to the final, and trust him at that position and see what he's made of? Or would you switch him out in the bigger games against the bigger teams for Alisson? And notice I didn't say Adrian at all there.
So I was going to bring up. I meant to bring up Kelleher at my last comment right there. This is Kelleher's. This is his competition. Same thing with the Europa League group stage, in my opinion. I mean, until we get to where we actually go to knock it to like the next rounds. I mean, you have to give him that time to play. I mean, that's the only way that we've enticed him to stay, because I think he was really wanting to be off without having playing time. And so we have to get – I can't say we owe that to him, but, if we were to develop him to be Alisson's replacement, then we have to go in there and make sure that he gets the desired playing time that he wants. But like Trevor was saying earlier, I think the next the Carabao Cup, in my opinion, it's going to be a lot of mixed bag right there. I mean, as far as players go, but I think mostly we're going to get these French players, and getting players like Gravenberch and Endo in the squad and affiliated more and more right there, so that way that we have them in the second half of the season as viable assets.
This question is for both of you. I'll start with Trevor. We're not going to have an official threshold question tonight, but this is a sort of a threshold question. It's a little bit of a threshold question. And it's this, Trevor. Who would you rather beat in the final if we got to the final? Manchester United or Liverpool or Everton?
Oh, I want the easier opponent. I want Everton.
Which one is that, though?
Yeah. In any instance, and this is something that I've yelled at to people for years, they go like, oh, if you're going through in playoffs, cup competitions, anything, you're like, oh, don't you want to like beat the best to like no, I want the easiest team. When I'm looking at the NCAA tournament brackets. I want my team to face somebody that just faced an upset. I want Port Vale in the next round. I don't want to face good teams at all. I am a wimp. I am a pacifist. I want no resistance to seeing my team lift a trophy. It will, in the history, be like, oh well, you beat Port Vale in the quarterfinals. What is that? No, I don't care. Look at the trophy. It's sitting right there. It's very shiny. That's great. I want nothing standing in the way of glory. And yeah, okay, everybody can kind of make their own narratives about how, well, they didn't beat this team. Well, the team that they didn't beat lost to the team that they should have beat. So, yeah, bring on the Toffees. 4-0 final. Fuck off, drive home safely.
Brian, what do you say? Do you agree with that, or would you rather, like me, put Everton to the side, give them the hope that kills them, and then kill them with the hope, and then watch them get relegated at the end of the season?
I want Everton in the final. I definitely want Everton in a final VD competition. Because, as so many people go there and go on about the Manchester-Liverpool rivalry and stuff like that, but there's no better rivalry than a Merseyside derby. So let's beat them 4-0, 5-0, paint the whole entire, have the entire town with red, banners and streamers and everything out there. So every little blue is crying and complaining and, saying that all our supporters are from Sweden and everything else that you hear and stuff like that. Yeah, I want Everton, I want Everton every day.
Excellent stuff.
And I just want to pop in real quick is I didn't have this much hate for Everton in my heart, as we talked about at the end of last season, when I talked about how I had nothing to say about them, and there was nothing, and they're just like a couple of the links that I had to this podcast, people just drowned in my now X mentions of just like, oh yeah, you fucking hate Everton, and now they're all pointing. And these people just like dancing on a fake grave of, well, oh wow, you stayed up. What do you want me to like give you a cookie? So that has put me in the firm camp of I want to stomp on every single chance for Everton happiness. And I think beating them in a final and really just really smashing their face into the dirt would be just that would be more beautiful than beating Manchester United on penalties. That would mean a lot more to me at this stage of my life. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I wouldn't give them a cookie. I'd give them fruit, because I've heard their favorite fruit is a blueberry. And that's Thursday's worst joke of the show. So on talking about faces that were smashed into the ground, let's go on to our last serious topic of the night, the Spurs game this coming weekend. They have a new manager. They've lost one of their best strikers ever, Ange Postecoglou, Big Ange. I watched them a lot at Celtic last season. That they are a very free-flowing and attacking team, but they remind me a lot of the Kevin Keegan teams of the 90s, in that if they're on form, they're going to cause you problems, but if you know how to play them, you could probably hurt them bad. Brian, how do you see this game going? Is this going to be a true test of where our team is, or are we going to be the perfect match for them to have a huge stumble in their encouraging start to the season?
I see this match being very, very even. I was mentioning last night on the other podcast on the Wednesday night podcast. I think this is going to be a true test for both sides. I mean, I think this is that Spurs side even though they lost Cade, I think that losing Cade actually helped them out right there because I think it made them a more well-rounded squad. I mean, Son is actually going to a little bit more free-flowing. I think that midfield right there with Madison in the midfield is a better-looking midfield. I mean, I think that you don't have that total dependence on getting the ball up there to Cade every time you turn around and just wait for him to do something. It's making your side actually have to work for their goals, and I think that's actually come to their advantage. I mean, the match right there against Arsenal was pretty fair. I mean, I think that they actually had some chances right there where they probably should have could have took the points as much as Arsenal could have took the points. But I think that our big concern right there is always Son. I mean, Son worries me every time he gets on the pitch. I mean, because just the way his mannerisms of how he plays just scare me. And also their midfield, I'm just concerned. If Madison is out, I think we have a lot better chance of winning that midfield battle. I think that with Madison in that side right there, I think that we're going to have it's going to be a very cagey affair in the mid.
Trevor, how do you see the game going in terms of there could be an openness at the back from both teams, so you could see a high scoring draw, or one team could have it all figured out. As I said, it could be one of those games where one team is just the nemesis, tactically the nemesis for the other team. You just kind of hope it's Liverpool for our point of view, but where it's a solid loss, for the team that has that the ambitions. Do you see it being an even game, or do you see us having a bit much or for Spurs, or do you think that non-Kane, Madison and Son factor is going to be something that our nervous defense, let's say, or inconsistent defense is going to struggle with?
Yeah, and this is where
just before you start there, Alan, I'm pretty sure Son's a centre forward. He's not a major winger. Oh, come on. Second word joke of the night. Okay, go ahead, Trevor.
No. But I think this is a game where we need to buck the trend and score first, because I think Spurs is a team where, when Sheffield United had them against the wall, they capitulated in the end. Whereas I think if we get them against the wall, they're going to break. We got it. We got it. We put it together. Don't
Alan.
Fret, Alan. But either way, I think Spurs is a team that I think they're full of confidence, and we need to break that confidence. And I don't think we need to score in like the first 10 minutes, but we have to score first, and it has to be before halftime. And it has to be in a decisive fashion where we cut them to ribbons and get it in the back of the net. Where at that point, they decide they need to either open up more or make adjustments which kind of mess with their flow. Because right now, especially the way they play against Arsenal, there was times where they never felt out of sync. Even when they were conceding, their response was always kind of measured. And I think if they go down, if we put them down 2-0 in a half an hour, it's gonna just break their circuit board, and they're gonna kind of just revert to old Spurs, where it will just be, all right, get the ball out the back, try to lump it up in one shot, and hope Son can beat 3 people and score. Where not that, instead of having that cohesion between all the lines, if you make them panic, I don't think they're going to be able to quell that anxiety and be able to respond in kind. So it's incumbent upon Liverpool to score early and make them really have to shift their focus, because if we score and then they immediately respond, then I think this game is doomed for a repeat of the North London Derby, a draw, which I hate predicting draws, but if we don't get the first two, I think we may be very well down that street.
Brian, do you think, let's assume everybody's fit, do you think Kwanzaa would be too risky in a game like this? But I suggest that given that he seems like quite a pacey defender who can make up for the lack of legs of Van Dijk, although his positioning seems to be getting a lot better week to week. Or should we go with the tried and tested because of the danger that Spurs pose?
I see us having Konate and Van Dijk partnering each other in the center of the defense. I also think that this is not a match for Trent to come back to it yet. I think that we need to stick with Gomez, as much as I dread sometimes and complain about Gomez. I think that Gomez needs to be there just for defensive work that he does on that right side. I mean, Robbo, of course, is going to be Robbo. I mean, yeah, he's had his deficiencies sometimes, but I think that you have to have somebody who can actually make those runs. Gomez can't make those runs, except for that little bit of a jiggle he did this past weekend in the middle of the pitch with the ball. But I mean, that's like a rarity. It's like finding that 4-leaf clover in the middle of a field that of seeing him do that. But I think that you're not going to see Kwanzaa in this match. I think it's just too far for him to actually go up against that a Sun and a Spurs side of their caliber.
I'll stick with you, Brian, for this. Then we go to Trevor for the same question. So, what's your lineup? Assuming the long-term injuries are still long-term injuries, who's your lineup for this? And then what is your score prediction?
Okay, so my lineup, obviously Ali, and then Gomez, Konate, Verge, and then Robertson. I think that you're going to continue to see McAllister and sitting at that number 6 slot. Then I think you're going to have Slabo, because there's no way you can actually take Slabo off this lineup at the moment. And I think Curtis Jones will still be on the other side. The front right there is proven at the moment, in my opinion. Right there, you have to start up with Diaz on the left, and then Nunez in the middle, and then Mo on your right hand side. But I think that we're going to wind up being I'm going to go out and say it's going to be a 3-2 match, us.
Trevor, same question to you.
Yeah, the only change to that is I think they're going to push Trent back into the lineup for this. I don't think it's necessary. I think they could give him another week and try to get him back for the second Europa League game. But I just have a sinking feeling that they're going to try to rush him back for this one, just because of the magnitude of the match. And yeah, I think it's going to be, like I said, if we score first, I'll go 3-1. If we don't score first, it will be 2-2. So I'm putting 2 lanes there.
Do neither of you think that Elliott might get a shot in midfield, or are we firm on Curtis Jones taking that third spot?
Absolutely, first man off the bench.
First man off the bench for me too. Curtis Jones has proven that he right now has won that position. You can't take him off at the moment.
Awesome stuff. For me, I'm gonna do my normal adventurous thing and say, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be 1-0 to us. That's what I'm gonna say. I think Trevor's right. I think we're gonna have to score first, but I don't think it's gonna open the floodgates if we do. I think that'd be a back and forth game where maybe the goalkeepers start in this one, but I'm always wrong, so who knows? So no threshold question this week, but we do have something that's incredibly special that everybody should be looking at, which ends tomorrow as well. So urgency is the watchword here. We have a 23-24 home jersey to be won if you subscribe for free at all of our social media. That's our Facebook page, our Twitter account, our Instagram, and our YouTube channel. The giveaway ends tomorrow. I mean, who doesn't look good in a Liverpool jersey, apart from me? But because red just doesn't suit Irish red hair and red beard, it just doesn't. But it's a fantastic prize, and it literally just requires a click. Just clicking on all of those social medias and making sure you're getting the updates and making sure you're getting the joy and the love that we spread on Mondays and Tuesdays, on Mondays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, where we spread the most love and joy. I mean, the United Nations have written a letter to Timuchin to ask us to stop spreading so much love and joy on Thursday evenings because it wipes everybody out for Friday, and general domestic productivity goes down in the countries where American Scouser TV is seen. So make sure you're doing everything you need to do to win that jersey. It's a fantastic prize, and we have lots of giveaways here on the channel, but that's a good one to win, especially the 23-24 jersey, because if you do, we might win trophies. You might be the omen, the unwatched jersey person that gets us to the league again. Like that time I didn't change my underpants for a year, but that had nothing to do with soccer. So before we go, it just remains to say, Brian, thank you so much, as usual, for giving your opinion.
Hey, real quick, but so I can quote Paul Bickler, smash that like button, smash that like button.
Yeah, smash it, and get a jersey. It's a good deal. And Trevor, thank you so much for joining us again. And there is no, for anybody who's
he did all the smash the like button thing. What am I going to say? Daintily hit the like button now? I got nothing. I got nothing to go from.
Carefully place your thumbs on the like button for the safety of all passengers concerned. That's what I would say.
Let's think about the people with carpal tunnels. Just daintily hit your mouse over that like
Give
button.
yourself carpal tunnel by smashing the like button several times. Join us on the Discord channel as well. That's where a lot of the fun happens. And then you can comment like Alan did tonight. Thank you so much, Alan Walnut, for your dedication as the only commenter on the Facebook page, at least. But yes, we have our morning coffee tomorrow and a pre and post match this weekend. And it just remains to say, the American Scouser TV, it's growing, it's fantastic. We're all here, we're all Liverpool fans, we all hate Everton and United, and we all want to know where Trevor's plant is, or his picture of his plant. So keep getting involved.
It
so
won't be a picture of a plant. No, I'm not going to reveal it. I'm going to make it be a thing. I'm going to make Alan wait. I'm going to build the suspense.
It's going to be a picture
you don't
of
get
Wayne
it. You don't get it for
backside.
free.
Yeah, you got to smash those like buttons.
You get it for free. You get it for just showing up. I don't know what the fucking talking about.
You can't do any more than that for you. But it just remains to say, just enjoy everything that we're doing. Make sure you're involved in everything that we're doing, and you're following us, and you're getting all the updates. And we will see you here next week, next Thursday, and we will see you at the coffee and the game and on the Monday night podcast. With that other crew, I don't know any of their names. They're not as handsome as us, so we don't pay much attention. There's no fantasy show tonight, which means Gally must have lost points this week, but it will return next week. So everybody have a great night. Peace out. Enjoy the weekend.